Hello, people. Hi. Ooh. Welcome to Starseed Mission Support once again. We're so excited to be here as we are every week. I'm just changing some settings on my live stream here, so just give me one moment. Feel this. My body is shaking. It's just like rumbling. I can hear this like rumbling sound inside of my body right now. So that's kind of wild. But yeah, hi, welcome. Welcome. Sending so much love out to all of you. There's some crazy energy in today. And we're going to get started in just a couple minutes here. Just want to welcome everybody who's tuning in live. And I'm going to start off in our usual way. I'm going to do a little bit of sound healing. And then we will dive into our discussion today. I will just be honest with you guys. I'm going through a massive activation. It's amazing. I slept like 3 hours last night and I'm freaking lit. So I'm going to tell you about what I've been experiencing because I know that a lot of us are on a very specific journey here on this planet. And while it may involve some crystals, crystals may not be the central player in your game. All that is to say, I feel like there's a lot of fluff in the spiritual community, and we're really going to get to the core of it. And so I'm really excited for our discussion today. So let's just chill and get into our space for the day. The rumbling. That's literally what's happening inside my body right now. Okay, here we go. Welcome, welcome. So happy, excited, powered up to be here with all of you today. Really, really excited. I can just feel the frequencies coming through. My whole body's shaking. It is amazing. Okay, so we have a very beautiful discussion that we're going to have today about this energy that is coming through the word devotion. And it's an energy that has been really making a scene in my life because sometimes, you receive these visions and then you're like, oh, wow, I'm going to do all those things. And then the big test comes in and spirit, your higher self, our cosmic universal oneness comes in with this question, well, what are you willing to do? What are you willing to put in? How are you going to show up in that mission? And so I feel like this is a vital key when we are talking about the Starseed mission, because obviously the word mission is in there. I was like, what the heck is a Starseed? And what is this mission? And what does it take for me to truly show up so I can own that? Because everybody wants to say, I'm a light worker, I'm a starseed, I'm a crystal child, I'm an indigo. And it feels good to say those things. It feels good to take ownership of it. And I think that that is beautiful and it's great. But it's becoming abundantly clear that in our spiritual community, and this is really nobody's fault, because the government and the CIA, they've been making up these programs for decades that are created to distract and created to get us off track, what I call the new age false light glass ceiling. And so this is when we think we woke up and we're like, oh, we discovered the crystals and let me do this energy healing. And then we kind of just get stuck there because we're comfortable and we think, well, I'm doing something spiritual, so that means I must be on my mission. And more as, this, let's just okay, here we are, we're back. The frequency is just so high right now. I don't know if we're like breaking our internet, but like I haven't ever happened to me where my body is literally rumbling. Like my lower body is just shaking and I can hear this like inside of my ears. But anywho, this is the real conversation. I'm so excited to have it because I feel like I've been lucky that ever since I woke up, when I found out that I was a starseed, this voice was like, you're from Andromeda, you got something to do here. I was like, oh my God, nothing has ever made more sense in my whole life, because I've always been the weirdo. I've always had these connections and I always saw things that maybe other people didn't. And so when I realized, when this thought came in, I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. There wasn't really any parts of me, well, there were parts of me that were bewildered and surprised, but it was very clear that, yes, there's a deep part of me that resonated with that. Now, when that deep part of me started to resonate with that, there was just a very clear response in me where nothing mattered. Nothing mattered as much as me completely coming into who I am and remembering what I'm doing here, remembering what my gifts are, remembering who I was, so that I can get on with this mission, because that's what I'm here for. And this has been the North Star that has led me through these winding roads. I've been with false gurus and false shamans and, people that try to take my power and all of these things. But the North Star that guided me through all of that was the central truth that I am here for a purpose. And as I began to grow and begin to trust that and begin to truly surrender to the process of accessing higher dimensional consciousness and kind of remembering all the facets of what's happening here, the energy of devotion has led me through that to find the purity and the truth of the central key theme of what we're doing here, which is very simple. It is to embody the highest vibrations of divinity and divine love, because then it allows our body and our consciousness to become an open, clear, crystalline vessel for whatever it is that the universe feels we would be best at offering our service at. So for example, when we first wake up and we're like, oh my God, there's satanic pedophiles and there's a cabal and there's people being trafficked to Mars, all these crazy things. And people can get really in that, right? That the whole disclosure community, which I feel like a lot of it is to trap people in that fear, in that, oh my God. And then it's like, what are you gonna do when you're like, oh shit, like that's real. What can I do? And so when I found out about all this stuff, what I felt like I needed to do was to first of all recognize that this human part of me, this human self that I've been living at, has no capability to figure out what I can do. Because my human personality, or this part of me that has been severed from even the core essence of who I am, that part of me has limited perception and limited capabilities of thought and imagination. And I realized that I'm like, well, if I don't know, who's going to know? And I realize it's the higher self, right? This unified cosmic universal energy of the universe and the planet, planetary consciousness. These are more expanded and bigger fractals of myself that can see the whole picture. And that's not to say that eventually through your healing growing process that you won't expand your consciousness to be able to merge and access those higher places. But it's important to recognize that in certain moments in our life, especially if we've been living as a personality or a character inside of the false matrix, that those personalities and characters actually don't know, right? And that's when we get stuck in the fear. We're like, oh my God, all those crappy things are happening and I don't have any power to do anything about it. So when we surrender that part of us and recognize that there is a greater force of intelligence beyond our own body, beyond our own human mind, it's actually quite comforting, because a lot of people say God and they think of this external being that's here to shame you and indoctrinate you and judge you in some way, when really God is just this more expanded cosmic unified version of us that we're a fractal or individual form of. And so when we surrender that self and merge, or just intend to connect, we will begin to receive our initiations. And as we receive our initiations, it's up to us, the human, to choose again and again and again on a minute-to-minute basis of whether or not we are going to actually move through with those initiations. So, for example, if the universe says you have this big mission, but you have to heal all the trauma, we can simply say, well, I'm kind of doing it. I'm aware of it. I can just do it next month. I can do it in 3 years. I'll just wait till I retire. All these things, when what's needed of you right now is your best, is your mastery, is your complete devotion to the process. And that looks different for everyone. It's not like you have to meditate 3 hours a day or do 6 hours of yoga every day. We're out of that past moment in time or cycle where it's that difficult for humans to reach cosmic consciousness. Right now, I would say it's actually quite easy if we just come into stillness and really devote our time to actually doing that. And so I feel like the energy that's coming through right now is priority. What is our priority? Is our priority to have some sort of social status as a spiritual person? Is our priority to make money? Is our priority to come into our self-mastery? And even if that looks like, maybe you do have a job, but that presence of that mastery energy is always there. And wherever it is that you are right now, let's come into complete unconditional love and acceptance. because, clearly you have resonated yourself into this space right here, right now, and you're just receiving this reflection back at you to remind you, of the most important thing. And so, I'll just share a little bit about my recent experiences, these activations that are happening all of April. In fact, really all of this year since December. This big activation came in, where I'm recognizing that I'm actually graduating from one stage of my life to another. And when we're inside of the stage, it can be really hard for us to recognize that there's actually a next stage. But, it's like this template or this idea of being a starseed, healer, crystals, teaching people about chakras, and then actually moving on to really anchor the vibration of divine love and realizing actually that this frequency and this deep connection to source is the true essence of what this vessel is here for. And in that process, I've had a lot of dreams, and I'm speaking to those of you that feel like you have superpowers, feel like you can communicate with the weather, feel like maybe you can levitate, feel like you can talk to trees, feel like you can interdimensionally travel, feel like maybe one day you'll walk through walls. These are things that are latent and inherent inside of a lot of our DNA. And a lot of us have these DNA templates to embody this vibration to literally be able to manifest miracles. And we hear about the return of the Christ consciousness, or the second coming of Christ. We think about the life of these masters that have gone before us, and we realize that actually, at this point in time on Earth, there are a lot of us here. And that, part of is that this activation that happens to us, and the other half is that we have to meet the initiations head on and make it our priority to show the universe that we're actually ready for that level of commitment and responsibility for planetary well-being. And that is motivated or charged by human suffering. Like, we've all seen that millions of children are being trafficked. We love to post on Facebook about it. Now, are we really transmuting and alchemizing that level of horror to prioritize what it is that we need to do? So we talk a lot about, in order to create the new earth, we have to be in the heaven vibration. In order to be in the heaven vibration, we will have to experience our deep connection to the universal oneness and this divine energy inside of our body. And that's where it has to start. Because when you are attuned and when you're open and when you are in embodiment of divine love or divinity, when you experience yourself as a divine creator being, not just mentally or intellectually, but through your whole body, through the core essence of your being, as you're walking, as you're eating, as you're doing whatever, that this presence is here. That's your first step, because then you're accessing limitless creativity and potential. And from that place, you can create solutions which you don't have access to when you're not in that greater expanded frequency or level of consciousness. And so, to me, the first step of devotion feels like surrendering, feels like coming into recognizing that I am not separate. And that dissolution process can sometimes be hard when we have so much wounding and trauma from all of the programming that perpetuates the separation. And the separation is what creates, the pain inside of us that make us feel like we're alone, or unworthy, we're not good enough, or we criticize ourselves or judge ourselves as being imperfect in some way. And I call those energies the anti-self program. And the anti-self program is very insidious. And there's a reason why it's infiltrated throughout our popular culture through TV and music videos and all of these things. It's because when you carry the anti-self vibration in your vessel, for example, I'm fat, I'm not pretty, I'm not smart, I'm not as good as that other person. All of these thoughts that disconnect you from the source of your being. And that is the underlying reason why these programs exist in our reality. They're to cut you off from the core essence of who you are and your connection to yourself and your recognition and acceptance and experience of yourself as a divine, sovereign creator being. So as we begin to recognize that this spark of divine love is always inside of us, we begin to realize, how in tune and how out of tune we are with that in all of our experiences in your whole life, right? Because when you are in that vibration of divine love, when you're integrated inside, you're at peace, you're emanating this delight and this joy, this excitement, and the whole universe responds to that energy. So what you get in your life is harmony and love and respect and reciprocity and equal recognition in all beings as that divine creation force. So then in our personal life, if we're experiencing boredom or lack or frustration or judgment, all of those things are simply reflecting back to us that we are in tune or out of tune with the core essence of our being, which is divine love. And this solves all of our issues because, I think is really sad and silly when I see light workers, in the awakening community. They're like, look at those normies. They're so dumb. They're sheeps. And it's like, we've literally missed the whole point. If we have any thoughts like that, there's no shame in that because, again, the government and the CIA have literally used this as a weapon to keep you from being on your path, to keep you from embodying your true essence of being a divine, loving, sovereign being. And so once we realize that, we click back into the central column. We realize that the greatest force that we have is divine love, because divine love is the force of the universe. It is God. It is spirit. And that makes it really easy for our brain and our human self to conceptualize, because sometimes when you say, well, ascension, DNA activation, like what is that? But when we say divine love, it's the presence of divine love inside of us. And when there is the presence of divine love inside of us, we're connected to the universe, we're connected to our higher self, and this place is from the place that we act and we create, and this is how we move into heaven on earth. Because heaven on earth, the frequency of heaven is divine love. And the frequency of that is what we are here to channel. And then when that occurs, we're going to witness those miraculous healings. We're going to witness the planet change in ways that are resplendent and regenerative and nurturing. We're going to have access to technologies and solutions that are genius, because this is the place where we access genius, right? Infinite creative potential, the perfect thing out of infinity for the situation that you're in. That's what you have access to when you're in connection with divine love. And then this simplifies our process of what we're devoting ourselves to. We're not devoting ourselves to some God. We're not devoting ourselves to some fancy process that we don't understand called ascension or DNA activation. And really it's just this process of tuning in and saying, am I fully immersed in union? And what does that feel like? I guess I'll just shoot you psychically what it feels like, because it feels like dissolution. It feels like the greatest love that you could possibly imagine and greater. It feels like the mass and the whole body of the universe vibrating with pure love. And it feels like nothing else can exist in that space. No hatred, no violence, no judgment, no criticism. There's nothing but this love. And all we have to do to devote ourselves to that is to ask ourselves in every now moment, how can I be that now? How can I align myself to that now in the current situation that I'm in? How can I love and support the people that are around me? How can I love my family? How can I show up for myself? How can I honor myself? How can I recognize and hold space and create space for myself to come into that? How would I spend my time? How can I prioritize that? And that, again, what inspires you is unique. what lights you up, what makes you delighted by the existence of life. That is your unique spark. And so finding that spark, finding your relationship to the sacredness of everything and yourself, you know, if you're someone that has just woken up and it feels like you're mountains away from experiencing pure divine love all the time, start with yourself. How can I love myself right now? What do I need? What does my body need? What does my emotions need? What does the spiritual part of me need? How can I create space and time around the spark inside of me to really cultivate it and grow it and nurture it? And it blows my mind that, you know, these things aren't talked about in the spiritual community. You know, we'd rather just talk about aliens or the V or whatever it is, when the core essence, the most powerful force, and you know, obviously this is why so many programs, I mean, I've seen so many light workers that get trapped in the false AI, false ascension agenda, where they think that they're someone that has lived in the past, or they're emulating what they think it looks like. And it's an AI signal that is here to infiltrate the ascension process. And I just think that I'm so lucky and I feel so inspired to hold this channel of pure love light for us, because, you know, I believe that we are the ones that are going to correct the architecture of this universe. That is what we have come here to do. And that process is an alchemical process that happens inside of our body, which is so brilliant. So physical body in 3D encompasses all the dimensions, and our consciousness can actually reach all the dimensions. So in order for us to correct the entire architecture of all the things that have fallen all the way up into the angelic realms of this universe, can be corrected when we come into the 3D. And a lot of you out there, the angelics, carrying this divine template inside of you, and it's literally the most precious thing, right? And sometimes we can be shy or be afraid or think we're not doing what other people are doing. Well, you know, sometimes just being here and being yourself and truly coming into yourself, that is literally the antidote to all of the viruses that exist, you know, on the planet and in the universe. It's by truly embodying and experiencing yourself as pure cosmic divine consciousness. So I remember this moment when it was only like earlier this year. You know, in the past I have experienced moments of this consciousness, but it's only since, you know, the beginning of the year when things have really been anchoring and coming in and truly integrating. And I remember this moment when I just felt in complete union with the universe and just how much love was pouring into me all the time, and recognizing that it's literally the mechanism of the universe. It's not like the universe pick and chooses who it's going to love and who is not. You know, it's like we are intricately and interwoven into the fabric of this reality. And this reality, the fabric of this reality, it's pure divine love. And so when we are, and that's why it's so easy, you know, it's like people are like, oh, you have to do all these things, sit in a cave, kill your ego, like meditate for 50 years. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense because it's the core of your being. It's who you already are. You just have to let go and purify and cleanse everything that is not that. And I think that right now in this activation cycle on Earth, this can happen instantaneously. All of your pain, all of your trauma, all of the stories that keep you from experiencing yourself as pure love, as the pure love of God, all of that can be washed away instantaneously if it's not any longer serving you and what your soul is choosing to experience at this time, which is this purification process that's just happening on the planet. You know, you're worthy and you are created to experience yourself as this pure divine love. And just know that, even if you've been trying to heal yourself for 20 years and you're still weighed down under all the weights of your trauma and all the memories that you have and all the wars and all of this and that, that in this now moment, it is still possible for you to instantaneously reconnect to the core essence of who you are, because that's what you are. This is who you are. So I invite you to just tune into your body, tune into your consciousness. Do you feel the places in you which feel like pure, free energy, exuberant creativity and joy and love and divinity and light? And do you feel like there are places in your consciousness and body where there exists separation from that? It might be the source of your agony. And just recognize that in this moment, in this now moment, the power of the love inside of you is God, is the universe, is your unified consciousness that is the greater expanded version of you. And that force, that true force of love, it can overcome and it can heal and it can restore all things with ease and grace. And then when you truly embody that vibration of divine love through your whole vessel, you're going to be able to go out into the world and share that light and that power with all people. And that is what we're here to do, to share this love. We didn't come here to judge humans. We didn't come here to say, you did such a bad job at guarding your planet. We came here to love them. And we came here to love the whole universe back into union, back into unity, back into perfection. And it begins inside of you. It begins inside of your body and your consciousness and your emotions. And with that being said, it seems like the seems like our transmission was quite brief today. I think I got to the point. So we're gonna do our sound transmission. Just get yourself in a comfortable and receptive place. And, we're just going to really intend to connect with that force of our true core, soul, essence, that divine, pristine place inside of us that might have been hiding, might have been afraid, might have been traumatized, but there's a place within you that remains perfect. And as we bring these energies through, I want you to bring that light out. I want you to feel the vibration of heaven, of divinity inside of your whole vessel. And we're just going to focus on clearing all the things that are no longer serving you. Maybe you've been holding on to this pain and feeling like, it's your responsibility, or it's too hard to move through, or it's just too big of a thing. And I'll just say that there is no thing that is more powerful than divine love. Source is the greatest force of healing, evolution, and transformation. And whatever it is that we intend from that place of pure power, pure divinity, has to become as divine creator being that you are. And so from this place, I'm just intending today that this clearing bring you peace, bring you connection to this love inside. And then it's going to be up to you to cultivate that fire that we light inside of you and tend it with the most care, as if it's the most precious gift in the world, because it is. You are the most precious gift to the universe, to this planet, to humanity at this time. You know, as these children, they prayed for God to help them. God asked us to come here, right? And so, not out of an arrogant or an egoic place, you know, oh, I'm so cool, but just truly recognizing how sacred that is and how profound that is and how worthy you are of protecting that light, because it's not just for you, it's for all of creation, that you acknowledge yourself and recognize yourself and hold space for yourself to tend to that sacred fire inside of your heart, because it's so needed on this planet at this time and is the only medicine that is going to heal this planet. Take a deep breath down into the lower belly, expanding the belly as you inhale. Exhaling, releasing all tension. Inhaling, expanding your belly as far as it will go. Exhaling, releasing all resistance and unworthiness. Inhaling deep into the belly. Exhaling, releasing all shame and all anti-self energy. Breathing out into the heart chakra. Expanding the heart space out into deep space, into the core of the universe. Calling in our angelic galactic team, calling in our highest source connected aspects of self, calling in the forces of divine unified creation, connecting in through our crystalline heart, feeling like a proud, brilliant, perfect child of an infinitely abundant and benevolent universe. meditation. We're commanding for complete clearing of all distortions, programming, beliefs, trauma, pain that is stored in our body, that is no longer needed or of service to our highest joy and love at this time. And we're asking for all of this pain to be lifted from our body and our multidimensional bodies, for us to truly experience the union and the divine love that we truly are. Commanding for a complete reconnection to this inner sense of divinity. Breathing the light into the body, into all the places in the body that might be feeling disconnected or sad or abandoned or wounded. And bringing the grace of this divine love right to those places, allowing the frequencies, opening up the body, allowing the light to heal in ease and grace. Opening up our tailbone, opening up our root chakra, opening up the soles of our feet, opening up the chakras in the tips of our fingers and the top of our head, and allowing this cosmic energy to flow freely through your body. Just let go. Let go of all of the thoughts and the beliefs and the viruses and the wounds and the personalities which are in resistance to divine union inside with the pure force of divinity. And all you have to do is relax. All you have to do is allow the frequencies to work for you in this now moment and just come back to your home. The frequency of your original source, divine, infinite creation consciousness. Who you are at the core of your being. out here. We are a beacon. We have such a treat for you guys in the coming months. Later on this month, we have our official audio professional joining us, and this show is quickly going to turn into a weekly, super high quality, well produced talk show with live music and jokes. And of course, we are here as a beacon. We are Stargate keepers, and we are here to hold down the frequency. And our true intention for Starseed mission support is to support you with this vibration so you can feel like you're at home. You can bask in this energy and receive it and attune to the vibration of source, so you can go out there and do the work, and you can come back and get your love, get you all juiced up, come and feel at home and be held together. And so I'm really excited for that next evolution of this experience. And if you really enjoy coming, definitely tell your friends. Hit the like button. And we love you so much. So, 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 so much. And we're here to love the world and the universe back into union, back into perfection. And we're doing it together, and it's super fun. So thank you all so much for tuning in and joining in live. We're so excited to have you guys here. We're building such a profound and beautiful field around the planet, and can't wait to connect again next week. So sending all the love out to all of you. Go out there and love the world, and we'll see you guys next week.